want to get in someone who knows a bit about renewables and the cost profile and not their economic and both their environmental impacts as well. And that's Liberal MP Craig Kelly, who joins me now from Sydney. Craig, I want to know your reaction to this, but I also want you to remind people wind turbines have a relatively short life. And then when they're not used anymore, that beautiful community, those undulating hills, will be left with these, rusting hulks. And that's all because we say we want emissions, low emissions power, but they're left with the mess.
Peter, remember these wind turbines they're talking about are 220 metres high. So to put that in some perspective, the iconic MLC building here in Sydney, one of Sydney's tallest and most prestigious buildings, is 228 metres. So it's the height of the MLC tower here in Sydney. And it's not just one tower, you're talking about 90 of these towers along the range. And the idea that they're somehow renewable, remember this project would need, for each turbine, you'll need something between 500 and 700 cubic metres of concrete. So for the whole project, the concrete that would be poured, you could cover the surface of the MCG, the entire playing surface of the MCG, to about 2.5 metres to 3 metres high. You're talking about, for each turbine, about 250 tonnes of coal that's needed for the steel. You've got thousands of litres of heavy machine oil to run the gearboxes. And when these things come to their end of life, you've got these very large wind turbine blades made of all these resins and other toxic chemicals that need to be buried in landfill. And yet they call it renewable.
And we've also got the instance in Australia where over 70% of our wind farms are foreign owned, and we spend hundreds of millions, billions of dollars every year on subsidies.
Well, the subsidies for the just the rooftop solar program alone last year was something like $1.7 billion. No, that's 1,700 million in subsidies, and that goes on top of your electricity bills in a hidden green tax. And we're also, Peter, what's not really known is a lot of the wind turbine parts and also the solar panels for the so-called renewables are all imported from China. So the higher the subsidies we have, we just send more and more money off to China to buy their wind turbines and solar panels while they're rolling out hundreds of new coal-fired power stations using Australian coal.
So why doesn't Zali Steggall put them on the beach at Manly?
Well, I think that's actually not a bad idea. Look, obviously the local community there is against us, and people like to say we should have community consultation. Well, we saw that community consultation at the last election. The people of Warringah voted heavily in favour of renewables with Zali. So surely she should come forward and she should volunteer to take all those wind turbines that are going up in that area and put them along the Corso at Manly.
Yeah, and I know people say renewables equal jobs, but there's no jobs when these things... Well, first of all, the jobs are in China to build them, and there's no jobs once they're installed. There's a lot of, as I said, a lot of residual mess when they end their life after about 20 years. I'm going to try and talk to the state politician for that area, a guy called Kevin Anderson, tomorrow night. Barnaby Joyce is the federal MP in that area too. I don't think he's much of a fan, but we'll see what can be done.